You know what's wild? Most people think AI filmmaking is about finding the coolest tool or the fanciest model, but here's the truth nobody's telling you. The difference between amateur AI videos and actual cinematic content isn't the tool you're using. It's understanding the key things that make films look professional in the first place. So here's what we're doing today. I'm walking you through the core fundamentals of AI filmmaking using OpenArt as our main platform. We're using OpenArt because it's basically an all-in-one hub. You can switch between the best tools for each job without having to deal with 5 different subscriptions, and that matters a lot when you're building full projects. On top of that, OpenArt is one of the easiest platforms for keeping characters consistent, which is huge for AI films. By the way, if you want to follow along, I'll leave a link for OpenArt in the description below. Now let's get into it. The first step in any AI film is creating a consistent character. Because here's the thing, if your main character looks different in every shot, your film falls apart. Consistency is everything. I learned this the hard way when I first started. I'd generate these beautiful individual shots, but when I put them together, it looked like 5 different people. That's not a film, that's a slideshow of strangers. So with that being said, let's jump right into the main interface. Once inside the main interface, we want to go ahead and click over to the left, where it says Character. Here you will find your main character dashboard. If you already have characters in OpenArt, you're actually able to upgrade any of those to this new version. But if you do not have any, you can create one in 2 different ways. The first option is to start with an image. Here you're prompted to upload between 1 and 4 images, 1 that is required and 3 extra that will help the model better understand your character from different angles. The second option is to start with a description. Here you can just write the exact prompt of your character and select the model that it will use. For this tutorial, I'm going to use the description method because it gives us the most control from the start. But first, you need to blueprint your character. Don't just think about what they look like, think about who they are. This is something I wish someone had told me earlier. Your character needs a personality, a backstory, even if it never shows up on screen. Because when you know who they are, you know how they stand, how they move, what they wear. For example, let's say I'm creating a character who's a vigilante hero, someone who protects her city at night but lives a normal life during the day. She has this fierce determination mixed with vulnerability, wears a sleek tactical suit with subtle armor plating, and there's always this intensity in her eyes like she's carrying the weight of the world. See how that's not just a physical description? I'm building a person. Now I can write a prompt that captures all of that. A young woman in her mid-20s with long dark hair flowing past her shoulders, wearing a sleek black and deep purple tactical suit with subtle armor plating on the shoulders and forearms, fitted combat boots. She has piercing green eyes with an intense, determined expression, dramatic lighting with shadows, photorealistic, detailed facial features, superhero aesthetic. OpenArt's default model is going to be the one that was used in the previous version. This one just allows you to use different styles like photorealistic, digital art, anime, 3D, Pixar, fantasy, and RPG. Or you can select any of the other top models out there, and you will still have the option to create them in different styles. This gives you a lot more flexibility depending on the type of content you're creating. So let's go ahead and test out Nano Banana Pro. This is the model that I think works the best. Then, OpenArt will give us 4 different versions of our character, and we can select the one that we like the best or regenerate them if none of them feel right. But I'm actually pretty happy with one of these, so I'm going to go ahead and click that one and click on Build My Character. Once that's done, it's going to give us 4 different images so that we can see the results the model is going to be trained on. These are the front view, the close-up view, the full body view, and the back view. This is important because it ensures your character stays consistent from every angle, which is exactly what you need when placing them in different scenes later. Once they're all generated, you have the option to either regenerate all of them or just regenerate the ones you're not happy with. And once everything looks good, you want to go ahead and click Looks Good. Finally, you want to add a name and a backstory to your character. I'll name mine Nova. The backstory is optional, but I recommend adding it if you have the time. It will give the AI more context about who the character is, and it will be able to generate images that better fit what you have imagined. Then click Save, and this will save your character, ready for you to use. That's it. Your character is now trained and ready to use in any scene you want to create. Now let me show you how to actually use this character. You want to click on this button that says Create, and here you will have the full interface available to you. At the top, this is where you can select or switch between your characters. Next up, you have the prompt section, and this is probably the most useful part here. This is where you describe what you want your character to be doing, where they are, and what they are wearing. Below that, you have the option to upload reference images. And the coolest thing is that whenever you reference them in your prompt, it will actually bring up the entire image and you'll be able to tag it directly. Then you have the output size selection, so you can choose between various different output sizes and go as high as 4K resolution. This is great if you're creating content for platforms that require high quality visuals, or if you just want your images to look as sharp as possible. And finally, you have the ability to select whatever model you prefer to use, whether it's Nano Banana Pro or Sea Dream. Alright, now that you have your character, let's talk about the story, because this is where most people completely lose the plot. They generate random beautiful shots and then try to stitch them together, hoping it makes sense. That's backwards. You need to plan your story first, then generate the visuals to match. I used to do it the wrong way and I'd end up with these gorgeous clips that didn't connect to anything. It was frustrating. Start simple. Think of your film in 3 parts: beginning, middle, end. Beginning, introduce your character and their world. Show us who they are and what they want. Middle, present a challenge, a discovery, or a shift. Something changes. End, resolve the tension or leave us with a powerful emotion. This is basic story structure, but it works for a reason. For my character's story, let's say she's standing on a rooftop at night, overlooking the city she protects. She receives a distress signal on her device. She leaps into action, moving through the city. She arrives at an abandoned warehouse where she confronts a threat. She emerges victorious but exhausted. She returns to the rooftop at dawn, watching over her city as the sun rises. Simple, right? But it has all 3 parts. We see who she is, something happens, and she's different at the end. Now break that into specific shots. Shot 1, wide shot of her standing on a rooftop edge at night, city lights glowing below. This establishes the location and the mood. Shot 2, close-up of her face as she looks at a holographic distress signal on her wrist device, determination in her eyes. This builds tension and shows her taking action. Shot 3, medium shot of her running across rooftops, cape flowing behind her, neon city lights blurred in the background. This shows her in motion, moving toward danger. Shot 4, close-up of her face in the warehouse, lit by emergency lights, ready for confrontation. This is our emotional moment. See how each shot has a purpose? That's intentional filmmaking. I'm not just throwing pretty images together. Each one moves the story forward or reveals something about the character. Okay, now you have all your still images. Time to bring them to life. Click on any image and select Image to Video at the top. This opens the video generation workflow. I'm going to use VO 3.1 for this because it gives incredibly realistic motion and natural movement. When you click on the model selector, you'll see VO 3.1 in the list. Select that. Upload your first shot, the wide shot of her on the rooftop. For the prompt, don't just say, make it move. Be specific about what moves and how. Nova stands on the rooftop edge, her cape and hair flowing gently in the wind, city lights twinkling below. Camera remains static. Night atmosphere, cinematic motion. Set your duration to 6 seconds. You can go longer, but I find 6 seconds is perfect for most shots. Make sure you're using the highest quality settings. For VO 3.1, you want to set your resolution to 1080p and select the normal video mode. Then hit create. This will take a few minutes to process, but the results are worth the wait. For the close-up of her receiving the distress signal, Nova's eyes shift down to look at the holographic display on her wrist. Her expression changes from calm to determined, subtle head movement, blue holographic light reflecting on her face. Dramatic moment. The key is describing the emotion and the type of movement you want. I want that subtle change in expression. Small details make it feel real. For shot 3, she is running across rooftops. Nova runs and leaps across rooftop gaps, cape flowing dramatically behind her, camera follows her movement with slight motion blur, neon city lights in background, dynamic action sequence. See how I'm describing the camera movement too? VO 3.1 generates audio along with video, so mentioning the motion helps it create the right energy. If you need help with figuring out your prompts, here's a little tip. Go to ChatGPT, give it your story's structure, and ask it to give you detailed prompts for each scene. You can do this for both image and video generation. Let me show you an advanced technique that makes your film feel cohesive, using start and end frames to create smooth transitions between shots. This is something professional filmmakers do all the time, and now you can do it too. Let's say you want shot 3, your character running across rooftops, to transition seamlessly into shot 4, the close-up in the warehouse. Generate shot 3 as a video first, then grab the last frame of that video. In OpenArt, you can do this by clicking Grab Frame to Video and selecting the final frame. This saves that exact moment as a still image. Now use that final frame as the start frame for your next video generation. Upload it into the start frame slot, then upload your shot 4 image as the end frame. Smooth transition from Nova landing on a rooftop to entering the dark warehouse. Camera moves from following her action to focusing on her face lit by emergency lights, continuous motion, tension building. This creates a seamless flow between your shots, making your film feel like one continuous experience instead of disconnected clips. The AI will figure out how to move from point A to point B naturally. I use this technique for almost every transition in my films now. It makes such a huge difference. Instead of cutting abruptly from one scene to another, you get these smooth, flowing movements that feel intentional and professional. Once all your shots are generated, it's time to bring everything together. First, upscale your videos. Click on any video in OpenArt and select Video Upscale. You can bump it up to 4K and increase the frame rate to 60 or even 120 frames per second for ultra smooth motion. I usually go with 4K at 60 frames per second because it looks incredible on any screen. Now comes the sound design and music. Use OpenArt's audio feature to add voiceover if your character speaks. For ambient sound, describe what you need. City traffic in distance, wind whooshing, subtle tension, electronic hum. These background sounds make your world feel alive. Without them, even the most beautiful visuals feel empty. Then, bring all your clips into your video editor. I use CapCut, but you can use Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, or any editor you're comfortable with. The editing software doesn't matter as much as understanding what you're doing with it. Import all your upscaled clips and arrange them on your timeline in the order you planned. For music, choose something that matches your emotional tone. For this story, I'd use an intense electronic score with orchestral elements that builds as she moves into action. The music should support the emotion, not overpower it. I keep my music volume lower than most people think. You want viewers to feel it more than hear it. Add subtle transitions between your shots. Don't overdo it. Simple cuts or gentle fades work best for cinematic content. I see a lot of beginners using these crazy transitions or spinning effects, and it immediately makes the film look amateur. Keep it simple. Finally, color grade your footage. Even slight adjustments to contrast, saturation, and color temperature can make your film feel 10 times more professional. I usually add a bit more contrast to make the blacks deeper, boost the blues and purples to give it that superhero night aesthetic, and adjust the color temperature to match the mood. Cooler tones for the night action scenes, warmer for the peaceful dawn ending. Now let's look at our final result. And look at that, we've gone from understanding basic filmmaking principles to creating a complete cinematic AI film with a consistent character, intentional shots, and professional quality. This is what separates people who make random AI clips from people who make actual films. It's not about the tools, it's about understanding the craft. So now you know how to approach AI filmmaking like a professional. You understand composition, lighting, and movement. You know how to build consistent characters and plan intentional stories. You know how to generate your shots, animate them, and bring everything together in post. And with OpenArt, you can do all of this in one place. You're not jumping between 5 different platforms, losing your workflow, or paying for multiple subscriptions. If you want to start creating your own cinematic AI films, click the link in the description and sign up for OpenArt today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.